Okay, so a couple more things before we go inside the coach. I'm just going to show you how to lock and unlock the entry door. I'm going to run the awning in and out and show you those before we go inside. This is the handle lock that locks that. This is the deadbolt lock, which locks the striker through the door again. So I do that. I can see the door's locked before locking the handle, and then I get the handle, and I know they're both locked. So you turn that to the left to lock it, you turn to the right to unlock it. The deadbolt you turn to the left to lock, and you turn to the right to unlock it. And that's that. You got a handle lock on the inside, that just locks the handle. This is a deadbolt lock up here for the inside. And this is your screen door. Screen door, you want to close it off just to, keep any bugs from coming in. There's a step switch in here next to the awning switch I'm going to show you. The step switch is actually down here next to the battery disconnect switch. The step switch is here. If I turn it off, the steps will stay out when I close the door. There's an ignition override where if you leave the steps out and have the steps like that, they'll automatically retract before you try to drive, so don't worry about that. So however you want the steps to be, it's up to you. Other than that, let's run the awning out so we see that before we go inside. The awning switch is up here to the right. It says awning in, stop, and out. I'm going to tap out, and the awning will start running out. Awning has LEDs on the lead rail and on the speakers. Turn them on and off with that light panel on the left down there. That's where you turn on most of the lights, actually. Ceiling lights, porch light. This porch light is here too. Where's that? Here. That turns on the light next to the doorway up here. So you have plenty of lights outside. If you're out here in the dark, light up your patio area. Stop on its own when it's all the way out. And there it is. That's your awning. So they don't want to use it in any form of wind, rain, or snow. So 0 precipitation when this awning's out. They only want it used for shade from the sun. So keep it that way and you'll have no problems. And if you leave this for any reason, especially here in Colorado with how our weather is, you just make sure the awning's in. Just don't want to risk it. There is this automatic retract function, not only linked to the engine. If you were to leave it out before you started the engine, would it automatically retract, but it has a wind sensor. I will not tell you to rely on this if A, you're leaving it, or B, you're just inside, to actually retract it if it's windy. Just don't use it if it's windy, because it's not worth it, or rain, snow, anything. But it is just a backup feature in case you forget that it will retract if it senses any vibration. So just like it ran out, you tap out to run it out, you tap in and it'll run it in all the way. And the middle button in between in and out is stop if you want to have it in between somewhere in or out all the way. Okay? I think that's everything on the outside, and we're ready to go inside. So slide out comes out about 3 or 4 feet. Every time before you run the slide out, you want to come over here and make sure there's visibly at least 3 to 4 feet of clearance. So this is your slide out here to make sure nothing's in the way about that far, of any obstacle. First I'll go over the switch panel here and the touch screen up here. Just because this is lower down here, but cargo lights are here, entry lights. There's just a ceiling light above there. Main ceiling is just all the ceiling lights. Awning lights there, porch lights there. Light master is actually all of the lights. Turn them all on or all off, or whatever you left on is what it'll turn Battery disconnect switch. This is a storage device. If you are not using the coach, especially if you're not plugged in, or I mean you don't have an outlet to plug in to charge the batteries, you want to have this off. Turning the battery disconnect switch off disconnects the battery from everything that uses battery power, so you keep the batteries from being discharged. It's good for storage. If you want to plug it in and charge them, the disconnect must be on. So if you have the unit plugged in, the batteries won't charge unless they're on. So make sure you turn it on. You see lights here, see lights anywhere, and you know the batteries are connected. You have to have them connected if you're plugged in to charge. So be very conscious of that. So you only want them off if you're not using it, or not plugged in, I mean. Other than that, you got your step switch, which I explained earlier. Turn the steps off, keeps them out even with the door closed. You turn them on, they'll go in and out with the door opening and closing. Other than that, it's just a bunch of lights. All right. Over here is a fire extinguisher. Of course, by the doorway, if you needed to exit, put out a fire, it's here. You have a smoke detector. I'll point that out when we get inside. Up here, you have your radio CD DVD player. Change the mode there. You turn it on over here. Disc goes in there. Eject it, So it's just all the functionality of a radio or CD DVD player, Bluetooth. And then you got this touchscreen panel here, which on the home screen, the home page, this is the pages on the bottom. On the home, it shows you the levels of the tanks, fresh, gray, black, and your propane gas tank as well. It is full, but it's only reading 70-80% because that's actually what the tank should be filled to, despite whatever capacity, because due to expansion of gas, if it were to warm up, you wouldn't want it to exceed 100%. Obviously, the tank could, explode. So with an overfill protection device, it only lets you fill the tank to this capacity. So that is actually a full tank. We just filled it. So house voltage is your battery voltage, 12 volt power. 13.2 is good, means we're charging. A fully charged battery is going to read 12.6 volts. Thus, anything over 12.6 volts is charging the battery. So we want to see 13 volts or more. That's good. Below the voltage there are your switches for your water pump. That sucks water out of the fresh tank to give you water if you're dry camping, or suck antifreeze out of your jug of antifreeze to winterize it. Tank heat, it's just heat pads on your fresh and holding tanks to keep them thawed. This is a 4 seasons unit, so using the tank heaters as well as your furnace helps keep plumbing and your tanks from freezing. Lights, just like the switch down on the left down there. Your main ceiling, entry lights, light masters, everything. Backlight is the actual light of the panel itself. Okay, so that's everything on the home page. Next is just lights. Got all these lights. You can do outside lights, awning, porch, cargo, master. Okay, you can even dim them. Somehow that's something you can do. Slide outs. No, slide out, I should say, just one. They do want the ignition on and they do want the park brake on. These are the 2 locks for the slide. If I try to hold out, it says to run slides. 1, turn on ignition. 2, set park brake. So I got to do that. Besides that screen, it's just this like diagnostic setting screen. You really don't need to do besides changing the brightness or color. Other than that, you're really not messing with the screen. But I'm going to turn on the ignition and park brake so we can run the slide out and continue the walkthrough.